every single Domino's in the world actually has my father's dough tray in it. A lot of the harmful aspects of gluten intolerance in America is that they're using.
So if you're someone thinking about buying or selling a home or is looking for more great information about all things Northern Nevada, by all means, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you'll be notified. We have great videos and content coming out every week. And just know that we're here to support you and get you the information you need to know what's really going on about the real estate market and all things Northern Nevada. Today, we're talking about pizza and one of my absolute favorite places in all of Reno to eat. You've seen us do videos about food before, and it was big group topics. But today we brought in the owner of South Creek Pizza. His name is Ian Madden. And Ian, I appreciate you coming down. And we're going to talk today about all things South Creek Pizza. So if you live here already and never been there, if you're a visitor here, you have to check this place out. It is one of the best high-end pizza places, and it's a little bit different. So we're going to talk about that today. So Ian, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And so first things first, like I always talk to people, usually things like restaurants are sort of family type businesses. And I think in your case, it is the same. So what made you guys decide to open up this particular restaurant in this particular place?
It's kind of a long story.
Yeah.
I guess that's why we're here. So my dad's business was an injection molding plastics manufacturing business. And he had taken that over from my grandfather, his father, in the late 70s, early 80s. They weren't doing very well as a business. They didn't have a product to sustain them. They were running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for holidays. So they needed to figure out something to keep that operation going. What they came up with was a dough tray that they were able to sell to Domino's is the main buyer. Every single Domino's in the world actually has my father's dough tray in it. And that was really the catalyst for us having the knowledge and going forward with opening up.
Are these those same trays? So it's like when I go to your restaurant back in the day before COVID, before that, we used to sit at the bar and there was just those stacks of trays where there was like dough ready to go. That's what we're
exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, see, that's super cool because I remember seeing them there and it's kind of funny because it just seems like dough sitting out in these trays. But I realized they were just grabbing them, get them ready, pizzas go in, and off it went. So that's pretty awesome. I had no idea that was the case. I thought, so you guys weren't in the restaurant business before this?
No, it was, I would say, though, injection molding plastics manufacturing is way more difficult than running a restaurant. I mean, you got machines that are constantly on. There's going to be breakage. You need engineers. So he was employing about 100 people in that one factory. So I employ about 25 people. So that's probably the biggest challenge of ownership in general is employees. So just increasing that by 3x is pretty nuts in my opinion. And then having all the other moving parts. So my dad he knew how to run a business, you know. I went to school for business admin, so I learned, but the most I ever learned was actually being in the business and getting going.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, he, with his insight, his financial backing too, we were able to open up South Creek, and it was.
So let me ask this then. So why go? I mean, if you haven't been to South Creek, people, you need to go there. But this is not your everyday, ordinary, cheap, whatever kind of pizza we're talking about. So what made you guys come up with this kind of concept and this kind of pizza restaurant versus obviously we're selling dough trays to Pizza Hut?
Yeah. So because my dad was servicing the pizza industry, we were living in New Jersey. There's a very good wood-fired pizza culture there. He installed a wood oven on our patio when I was maybe like 13, 14-ish. And he was also able to tap into a lot of these local pizza guys. So he became really friendly with a guy named Dan Richer, who owns one of the best restaurants in the tri-state area called Raza in Jersey City. But he had owned another place called Arturo's in Maplewood, New Jersey, and my parents became very close with him.
Right.
So they were able to tap into his brain, get the knowledge, learn how to use a wood oven, get it installed. He was able to come over, show him the ropes, bring some dough, show us how to make dough. Had a good relationship with Dan, who's an amazing chef, and I'm really lucky to be so close to him, really. And yeah, it all kind of went from there. I never really thought we'd be doing this. I had graduated from college, from Burlington, Vermont, moved back to New Jersey to run the factory.
Right.
I was there for about 6 months and was like, no way am I doing this the rest of my life. I was just like, kind of disappointed in my dad, but he totally understood. He was like, wants me to do whatever I'm going to be doing. So had an opportunity to move to Tahoe. I was caretaking a house in Tahoe City. That was actually my dad's business associate, but they were competitors.
Right.
So he had a house in Tahoe City, which he had lost his caretaker, and needed somebody to kind of shovel the snow. So I moved out to Tahoe City and never looked back. Been in Tahoe since 2007.
I see how much you learn. I mean, I'm in there all the time, and I had never even heard half of this stuff. So it's very interesting how it goes. We were talking about that because you had said briefly, like one of the hardest parts of any business is having employees. And I know in all the years I've been going there, the thing I love about your place is it's been a lot of the same faces and the same people. And I think that always says a lot about a business. Besides, obviously, you got to have good food and all those kind of things. So that is fantastic. But I know the food, the flour, things like that, this is just not your ordinary everyday stuff. So where does some of your products and your food come from?
So the main backbone of what we do there, in my opinion, is our fantastic dough. And dough, without good dough, you don't have good pizza. We're getting our flour imported from Italy. It's a very specific type of flour. It's called type 00 flour, which means it's gone through a very stringent milling process. It's very high in the G word, known as gluten, also known as protein. So the G word's got a lot of negative connotations associated with it, and I think it's kind of BS, to tell you the truth.
Right.
A lot of the harmful aspects of gluten intolerance in America is that they're using not a quality wheat,
right,
and not a quality flour. So we're getting a non-GMO flour. The Italians, they go a step further when they're separating the germ from the wheat, so you're getting a more fine product from Italy. And it's the type 00, which means it's designed to withhold the temperature of 850 to 900 degree oven. So if you were to do like an all-purpose flour in our 850 degree oven, it would turn black. It just wouldn't work. People ask if we do cauliflower crust. Again, you can't do it. It's too hot.
Right.
So that's my answer to that. We don't offer gluten-free products except for our appetizers and salads, but not on pizza.
Well, I tell people, if you sit, like you said, you don't sit there anymore, but we used to sit right there by the pizza oven. You could see they would grab that dough and they were throwing that flour down, and it is fine and it is thin, and it is just a completely different thing. So if you're someone out there thinking about buying a home in Northern Nevada, but you're nervous and scared about pricing, affordability, and you're just not sure what's going on in the real estate market right now, hit the link. We have a free guide that gets you all the information you need so that you can feel comfortable about what's going on out there, and you can make an appointment directly with me so we can talk to you about helping you feel good and comfortable about what's going on in the real estate market here in Northern Nevada. If someone doesn't know your restaurant, obviously I've been in there plenty of times, what kind of experience could they expect when they walk in? And then we'll talk about more about the food in a minute, but what would you tell somebody?
I think when people think, like when I tell anybody who doesn't know me, doesn't know the restaurant, that I own a pizzeria, they kind of think it's like counter service. Just like come up, order your slice, wait for your slice, get a Coke from the fountain. It's not really like that, honestly. We designed this restaurant after concepts that we saw work throughout the world, honestly. A very high attention to our product, which is we're making our mozzarella in-house every day. We're fermenting that dough for 72 hours. Everything that you're eating is as scratch as it can be. So it's very fresh, very upscale. I would say we don't deliver because our product dies really quickly.
Right.
It changes significantly. I highly recommend that if you are going to come visit us, that you come and eat the product in-house. It does make a difference. I'm very proud of our to-go service, but please, if you're going to try us out.
Yeah, because I know some pizza, when you get thick pizza or whatever, I call like when I was in college, that kind of pizza, some of that's good, day old, whatever. Sure. But you're right. The food in your restaurant is so much better when you eat it there versus when you take it home, and you know the reasons why better than I do. So it is one of those things you have to go there. So what would you say? I'll tell you what mine are after you tell me yours, but what would you say some of the most, someone doesn't know what kind of food you serve. What are some of the more popular dishes? What kind of things? Obviously you have lots of different kinds of pizza, but what are some of the other things that some people may not be aware of? I
would say, like, to answer that question, if you don't understand what we're doing, you can look up margarita pizza.
Right.
So our margarita pizza is really designed to stand up to any margarita pizza in the world. So what we're looking for is that we cold ferment our dough. So you're going to get that like leoparding around the crust. That's by design. It's a little bit of char. Some people, when we give them the product, they're like, it's burnt. It's not burnt. The bottom should be a little bit of black spots on it, but foldable, not any different color, just a little bit of black spots, lots of black spots around the edges, and it should just be really well balanced. That's really what I'm looking for when I'm designing any sort of product that I put on the menu. Should have a little bit of salty, some sweet, some acid, umami, just really bring all those flavors together. It shouldn't be overpowering in any one direction.
Well, and it's funny because a couple of things that are now on the menu, we used to order and they weren't even on the menu yet. And people would be like, how did you know about those? So in your restaurant, one of the best things to order are the ribs. And people are thinking,
I was just about to say that.
Ribs in a pizza place. But I'm telling you guys, that was it's one of the best things you guys have there. And besides, there's a few other appetizers. So for people that maybe are looking for something that's gluten-free, whatever. Yeah. But the ribs, I mean, tell them about the ribs. They're off the hook.
Unfortunately, the ribs are not gluten-free.
Oh, they're not. Okay, the sauce.
They're not. Yeah, it's just because of the hoisin sauce. There's gluten in hoisin. But we, to get back to your question, we put our ribs in our convection oven for about 7.5 hours. We do a dry rub there at about 220-ish degrees. So really slow, really long cook on those. We let them cool down, cut them up, and then toss them in a hoisin sriracha sauce. And then those go into the wood oven, get a nice glaze on them. And by the time they come out onto the plate, they are falling off the bone. Oh, they're fantastic. They are. You have to be careful because when they first come out, they're damn hot. And everybody wants to eat them right away. And it's like, if you're not careful, you're going to burn your finger. So you have to like sit there and have some patience, which I particularly hate having that patience. But there's a whole laundry list of other good appetizers. The salads, for some people that might have an issue where their family wants to eat pizza and they are gluten issues, the salads are amazing. My favorite's the Daggy salad, but I know there's a handful of others. I don't know where you guys came up with the inspiration for these, but they have really great salads in there too. I would say the inspiration just came, it was coinciding with the ideology of the restaurant, you know, fresh ingredients, as fresh as we can possibly make them, make all your dressings in the house, just really focus on flavors and quality, and the rest will fall in line. I mean, if you're always putting out great product and you're passionate about it and you're tasting your food and you think it's good, it's probably good. So, you know, it's not that hard. It takes a lot of attention to detail and you got to consistently be on top of everything. But if everybody's ideology kind of coincides, then it's easy to. Well, and I would say you guys obviously do a great job with that. Over the years, if I've been going there, the food is very consistent. You know what you're going to get. I know most people go to a restaurant. I wrote it down. Like, I know what I'm ordering. Like, I don't even need a menu anymore. I know what I'm going there for. I know I'm going to eat. I know for me, it's funny because I have two kids. One of them loves a Smoke Creek. The other one likes Frankie P. It used to have a different name. Yep. But those two pizzas, we get those every single time we go in there. And they're a little more exotic than just, like you said, a regular standard pizza. But I tell people all the time, there's lots of different options. And what you want to do, honestly, is go in there with 3 or 4 people, get a few different kinds and figure out what your favorite ones are, because there's a laundry list. I don't know how you guys came up with what you were going to do there, but I know for me, they're amazing. What would be your favorite? Honestly, the margarita. And that's what I always tell, like when I go and explore other wood fire pizzerias, I always order a margarita, and then I'll order like something like along the lines of like a Frankie P on our menu, which will just be like, our Frankie P is olive oil, garlic, Parmesan, soppressata, sausage, fresh mozzarella, onion, finished with hot honey. So good. I'll look for another pizza like that, but I'll always try a margarita, because I think if you are judging a wood fire pizzeria, you got to taste the margarita and make sure it's proper. So if they've got the basis down, then when they get more exotic, they're going to be in good shape. Yeah. So how long have you guys been open now? 10 years. Has it really been that long? 2013. Oh my God. That went way faster than I would have ever thought. Why don't you tell people where you're located? Yeah, we're in the Sow Creek Shopping Center. We are in the same shopping center. That's Yosh's Deli, Beer Envy, Whispering Vine, Los Compadres, Squeezin', Bebo Coffee, a bunch of other great shops, La Galleria, Little Red Wagon. That's where we're at. That's directly across the street from Winco in South Reno. Well, and the thing I love about that shopping center is every single place in there that you named has all been there a long time. So it's obviously been a very successful shopping center. And even when COVID happened, those businesses all somehow managed to get to the other side of it. So I know for people that if you're looking for other things besides, it's just a great little area as far as that stuff goes. What would be anything else that you might want somebody to know about your restaurant that maybe hasn't been there, or that would tell them, hey, you should come in? Just if you have never explored Neapolitan-style pizza, I think, and what that is we're using the very specific type of flour, and we're cooking in a 850-degree oven. So our cook time is actually about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So it's a very fast cook time. The pizza should be a little bit foldable, should be a little bit charred, chewy, but a little bit of structure to it as well. And I'd say if people have never explored Neapolitan-style pizza, I learned from some of the best pizza makers in the world, in my opinion. So their knowledge is now my knowledge, and absolutely, I love to share it with everybody. Can they get anything? I know for me, you can get wine and beer. Can you get other than wine and beer? Nope. I mean, soft drinks, but our liquor license is just beer wine and beer. Yeah. Perfect. I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember. I've been with lots of people that have obviously ordered wine and beer, but I couldn't remember if anyone has ever ordered a cocktail in there. I wish. It's just another complication that I'm not really looking to involve myself in. Come in for the food. The drinks are good too, but it's just not going to get a cocktail there as far as that stuff goes. That's true. So obviously any restaurant to me that's been open for 10 years has obviously been a success. What would you say you're most proud of in
one, getting into this business and the fact that your employees stay. I mean, I always say anytime the food's consistent, the people and the faces don't change, you're doing something right. So what would you say you're most proud of as far as taking this venture on?
I would say the best thing that happened to me from opening Sow Creek was meeting my wife. And now I have a 3-year-old kid as well. So my wife worked for me for a little bit, long before we were romantically involved at all. And she did her own thing, I did my own thing, and then we were able to reconnect. So without the restaurant and being involved, I probably never met my wife, that's definitely hands down the best thing that's happened to me since owning Sow Creek Pizza. I'm super proud, like what you were saying, is my low turnover rate. I mean, obviously we have our hiccups. There's always like the outlying people.
Always.
It's kind of like a revolving door, and that's very normal in most restaurants. But for my core people, they have been with me. I have one guy who's been with me since the day I opened doors, and he's now my general manager. He started as a busser. He showed me he really cared about the place.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name. He's the really tall, thin kid. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
We love
I didn't know his name. I've seen him in there always. He's a great guy. Yeah,
he really cares. You know, it's like he has his shortcomings, but it doesn't matter because he shows me how much he cares about the business. And I am so willing to invest in somebody who wants to put so much time and energy and effort and love into what we do. Because it's just like, you can't find people like that. So he's the most valuable employee in my opinion. I have so many other people there like that as well. And it's been
it's the key to everything. I run a small real estate team. I've been lucky to have my same assistant for over 20 years. And there's nothing more than someone who doesn't really own the business. They have every reason not to be as invested as we might be.
Right.
And when they are, those people are gold. And nobody's perfect. We all figure out our things, but it's an amazing thing. Well, if you've never been to South Creek Pizza, first things first, go to their website, check it out. They have a great location. Just know they're not open on Mondays. I think I just saw that the lunch is now starting to come up more frequently again.
Yep.
So ever since COVID, the schedule's changed a little bit. So always just call there or look on the website to figure out what the hours are because they do change quite a bit. If you're someone thinking about buying or selling a home here in Northern Nevada or someone's thinking about moving here, click the video, check it out. We've got lots of great information for you.